Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Bob Dubois. Welcome to the program, Bob.
Thanks, Mike. Welcome back to you. Been having a good day here.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great just to get to know different people, and I love hearing people's backgrounds and stories and what got them into business. And, you know, at some point in your life, you worked for somebody and you drew a paycheck, and then at some point you decided, I'm going to go out on my own. So give us a little background and tell us about Bob Dubois.
You bet, Mike. Well, I'll tell you this, I'll just take you back, I had a great childhood, was raised in a great family, lived here in Golden, Colorado. We moved to El Paso, Texas. My dad opened the first McDonald's ever out in El Paso, Texas for a guy here in Colorado. And, went through to junior high school in El Paso. We moved back here to Golden, and I went through school here in the Golden Wheat Ridge area. And, life was good. I did well in sports. I was very, very competitive. Things were good up to about my junior year in high school. And then I started kind of going off course a little bit. I just had enough of school. I wanted to get out in life, and the school really didn't like that. So spring break of my senior year, they asked me to leave school, and I went out and got into the workforce. I got into the landscape industry, worked for somebody, absolutely loved landscape, and I loved working hard. I loved working outside. I loved being able to see that finished product when you're done with a job and you get to see what you helped create. That was very rewarding to me. And didn't go to college or anything like that. Never even graduated high school. Did not get my GED. I just figured I was just going to keep going forward in life. And, met my wife in my early 20s, got married at the age of 25. We ended up with having three sons, we've been blessed with three beautiful sons. And then about the age of 30, I started running into some more problems. Mike, I was I didn't understand it, but alcohol had kind of started getting its grips on me. I found myself in the middle of getting some DUIs, and by the grace of God, I got led into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous at the age of 30, and that changed my life around. I was at a point where I didn't know if life was where we were in life, because I was in trouble, but I wasn't sure if life could get any better, would ever get better. Let me put it that way. That'd be the best way, because life was not good then. It was a struggle. And, being let into those rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, one day at a time, I started getting my life back together. And, at the age of 32, life was pretty good. I mean, I started venturing out into the business world. I left working for somebody else. I actually opened up a tree trimming business here in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, and grew that to having 10 employees, had a commercial property, had lots of overhead. I thought I was living my dreams. And during that time, I bought a franchise to some direct mail advertising newspapers. We ended up growing that into 3 franchises. So I became a multiple business owner. By the age of 35, we were 35, 36, we were doing very well financially. I was making, a good 6-figure income. But then I started finding myself time broke, because I didn't understand that when you owned a business, that the buck stops at you and everything else kind of rests on your shoulders. But, that's where I found myself through my 30s, and then being a multiple business owner, supplying for my family very well. And then that's when I found network marketing at that point.
And probably at that point, you didn't even know what in the world that even was. You were probably introduced to the concept by someone and kind of was a little fuzzy, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't really understand. It was a good friend of mine called me on the right day, Mike. I had 2 employees not show up that day. I had a $10,000 worker comp audit in the tree trimming business delivered to my desk. workers' comp wanted their money that day, and I just didn't understand that. I don't know, it wasn't as fun as it used to be. And my buddy called me and said he'd found something he thought we could help our families with, and he thought they could make a difference in our lives. And he came over and showed me what network marketing was all about.
So I've been exposed to that same type of thing, and whenever you're being explained something new, there's just so many questions. And I'm curious, when he showed this to you, did it just the light bulb came off and you were hitting the ground running, or was it kind of like a slow, tell me more, I don't get this piece of it, or well, what about this? And was it some kind of like an educational process for you to even understand what the opportunity was?
Yeah, kind of similar here, Mike. So what happened basically, he came over to my office. He showed me at the time I had just brought my dad to work for me a few months before that, answering the phones for me in my office, helping him out because he was struggling his retirement days. They didn't have enough, him and my mom did not have enough money to really retire the way they wanted to. And when he showed me the program and how we could how some money could be made on a part-time basis around our schedules, if we could fit it in, that maybe we could start building some teams of people and make some money. And so I looked at this, and I thought, you know what? It would be kind of neat if I could make just an extra $2,000 a month. Now, that's actually a lot of money, but in some ways it's not.
Yeah.
But here's what I thought. I had absolutely nothing put away toward retirement. I was watching my parents struggle. I knew a lot of people out there did not have their retirement set for the future, and I thought, if I don't start doing now, then when am I?
Yeah.
If not this, then what? And so that's one of the reasons I started. I had no free time, so I didn't know if I could do it. I wanted to have more time with my family because we weren't taking vacations, and I was missing out on some of my son's sporting events. And, I also wanted more money for everyday living because I believe everybody out there wants to provide the best for their family and their loved ones, but they just don't have that vehicle. And I saw this as a vehicle that maybe could take me there. But no, the light bulb didn't go off, but I did become a member in the company immediately. Didn't know how I was going to work into my schedule, but I knew that would be revealed as time went.
Yeah, hearing just you explain your stages of life so far, tell me if this is an accurate kind of a summary up to this point. You were working for some companies and then you thought, ooh, I want to get out on my own so I can have some freedom. Well, you started your tree trimming business and your different, self-employed exploits, and you found that, sure, there's some freedom, but then there are some downsides too, where the buck stops with you, and the workers' comp and the taxes, that's actually a job in and of itself, and you find yourself, thinking, oh, working 40 hours a week is like a part-time job, compared to owning your own business. You're working 60 and 70 hours a week, and boy, that's not as fun as some people thought. And then now you hear, what if there's a way to put some work, nothing's free, nothing's, push button and here it comes. But what if there's a way to do some work where you get kind of that recurring income, kind of like, where you do the work once and kind of you can maintain it. But I just sense that that's kind of the progression that you had seen in your career.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I realized when I saw that you could do the work once and maybe continue to get paid for what you did one time. That was a eye-opener for me because we had it was an everyday struggle to go bid more jobs and to produce more work, and we only could get paid one time on it for that work, that we did. And I was working 70, 80 hours a week. My business, instead of me owning businesses, I felt like my businesses owned me.
Yeah, you just had a job. You had another job, and you're the one that wrote the check instead of some other boss.
That's correct. Yeah, I wrote the check to me after I paid everybody else and paid all the bills.
Yep. Well, and let's think about something too. And people don't realize this, but what's like the most finite resource that we have, and it's time. And you think about, everyone only has a certain number of hours in every day. So when you were running your tree trimming business, there's only so many jobs you can do because time is, the sun comes up and the sun goes down. But with some type of opportunities this way, network marketing, which this is where I kind of want to, get to in just a second, because there's one other question I want to make sure we ask here, because I want to tell the full story, the full picture, because that's what is so exciting, is when you see that someone is not, like the trust fund baby, they've always had money and anything they touch goes to gold. Well, wait a minute here. Bob didn't start into owning his own tree trimming business and everything was rosy. There were some hurdles. And then when he then started into his network marketing opportunity, it didn't go straight to the top. There were some hurdles. So the observation that I wanted to make is there's only so much time, and you got to be very wise with that time and maximize it. So if network marketing is a wonderful opportunity that could help you bust through some of those times constraints, and I want you to touch on that, but tell me, I sensed that it was not a straight up stratospheric shoot to the top. There had to have been some hurdles and some barriers over the years, right? I mean, like a lot of people in 2008, they had some struggles when the economy went down, and whether it was your tree trimming business or network marketing, that had to throw a wrench in the works.
Oh, Mike, absolutely. You hit on that year, 2008. So here's what started happening. I got into network marketing in May of 2004. And I started learning the systems and started building the business, and we started making some money. I started making so much money. I was making 10 times more money a month than I was previously. And you start making that kind of money, you got to decide what to do with it. And so I took some advice. Some people said you need to buy real estate. So I went and bought 2 homes, beautiful homes, bought my wife. I thought we were living in our dream home, but then I bought her our dream home. Yeah. And then I went to put that house up for sale. But then during that time, I also bought another house. And buying that other house, everything was good. I had my commercial property, but then what happened 6 weeks later, the market fell out in the real estate, and I knew I was in trouble because I didn't have enough money coming in from rent from those places. And the house that I put up for sale didn't sell. 10 months it was empty. That was a $3,200 a month payment besides our bigger home that was a whole lot more payment. I'll just tell you what, I knew I was in trouble, and I went through some times. For 4 years, I tried to save myself from losing a lot of money. I'm not putting it on anybody else's shoulders except my own, because the buck always stops here. But I took some advice, and, I got taken advantage of on some things. I spent about $200,000 trying not to drown. But you know what? 4 years later, I finally had to say, you know what? I took the advice of a very good attorney finally. He said, Bob, it's time that you smarten up. You're not moving forward in life anywhere because you're not moving out of this hole. And that's what happened. I lost about $1.5 million of the wealth that I was accumulating for the future. But you know what? Very thankful that I had my network marketing business, because I had built. The neat thing about this is I was still making money from what I had already done prior. So it wasn't like I had to keep producing all the work during those times when I was trying to solve all my issues with money. But I had that money from network marketing still coming in. I tell you what, and that's what saved us. Let's now transition into this thought, because as you were describing that, you talk about owning your own business, like the tree trimming business, and then you talk about real estate. Well, there's wonderful success stories of people owning their own business, like tree trimming, and there's wonderful success stories of people in real estate. But there's something that is similar between those two scenarios, which is you don't just buy a business and hang out your shingle, so to speak, and go, here comes the business, and let it roll. You have to work and work and work. And it's not just the work aspect, it's the, wait a minute, I need to get new tree trimming clients. And when I get this one and trim the trees, well, it's 5, 10, 12 years before the tree grows back out and I need to trim it again. So I got to get another client and another one and another one. Well, same in real estate. I need to buy a house, and let's just use the example of flipping it. Well, I got to do all this work, flip it, and then wait to sell it. And then, oh, I'm done. Now I got to do it again. So the concept and the thought that we've just hinted at, that now I want you to go a little bit deeper on,
I just feel this tension of people going, I'm going nowhere working for a company, and then the business, wow, I'm just strapped to the business and I'm working so many hours, and then, real estate, you got to do it over and over and over and over again. But wait a minute, network marketing, what does it mean to do the work once and you can get paid over and over and over again for that same work that was done? Let's unpack that a little bit.
Right. That's the neat thing about it. A couple advantages in network marketing is, you get to be your own boss. Now, that's a good thing, and that can be a bad thing.
Yep, you need to be disciplined.
You got to be disciplined. If you've never been your own boss, if you've always just gone on a job, but you got to be disciplined. You've got to decide that you're going to do work. Sometimes people think that you just become part of this and there's no work involved. Well, I learned in life as I was going, the harder I worked, the luckier I got.
Yep.
The more things that started producing for me. But I had to put that sweat equity in. I had to do things when other people were at home watching TV and stuff. I was doing the extra. Early in the morning, I was doing the extra, maybe working on myself, mentally or physically, and staying in shape and feeding my mind with good stuff. Because here's the bottom line: it's called leverage. In this industry, in network marketing, you have leverage. But here's the bottom line: is I learned that I needed to learn what I was doing by the people that brought me in. They taught me what to do. I real quickly moved out from underneath them and started out on my own. I learned to help people do network marketing. But then I've learned to teach them how to do it. But then I learned to teach them how to teach people to do that. And when that happens, is you're not having to put in more time. See, in my tree trimming business, if I hired an employee, I had to train them, and then I had to provide work for that person. But in network marketing, if I decided somebody was qualified enough for my time and effort, and I wanted to bring them in my business, I'd offer them a shot at it. I'd bring them in. I'd spend my valuable time with them, help them learn what we're doing, teach them what to do, and then get them to teach people to do the same thing that I'm doing, to duplicate. And that's leverage. It didn't cost me anything to do that. It increase the time, because you get a couple people doing that and then they're doing it. Next thing you know, you've got a lot of people working in your business with you, and they're not employees, they're fellow network marketers. They've got the ability to make the same amount of money as you. They can make more money than you. They're their own boss. But if you teach them right and they duplicate, that is time freedom. That is leverage, because that's when it starts paying you for work you did one time by getting them off to a good start.
Because in the network marketing structure, if you put the time in and the effort in and train them to duplicate and leverage and train their people and all of those things you just mentioned, when they succeed, you are participating with them monetarily. So they might end up one day making more than you, for example, but you still are improving your cash flow because of people you have introduced to the same network marketing program. So I think that's the thing that people don't really realize is you never want to say, great, I got 10 people in and I'm kicking back and I'm done. But no, if you do it the right way and you teach those 10 to teach those 10, and then you get another whatever number, however the structure would work, the point is you might wake up one day at the end of the month with that statement and look back at that whole organization and see what happened without you having to do every single piece of heavy lifting, because it's like, wow, I did X number of whatever volume or transactions, but wow, I only did this sliver of it. My entire organization did the rest, and I'm getting compensated for that. And I think that's something that people don't realize. The compound, Einstein talks about compound interest as one of the, natural wonders of the world. Well, compound interest and compounding your time and income through this opportunity like this is the same thing. It works in reverse the exact same way.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I didn't understand, Mike. This is the last thing last thing in the world I ever thought I was going to be doing would be network marketing. That wasn't my cup of tea. But when I got in this, it became fun, because I also here's a real valuable thing here. is you can become attached to people that you bring in. You can become part of their lives because your goal is to help them to get to their goals and their dreams, to get it so they can retire. Because you know what? 95% of America is not set to retire correctly.
Yeah.
And when you dig in deep and you find what people are about and what they want, and you can show them and work with them to give them this vehicle to where it can lead to their goals and their dreams and can put their life to where they want, that's almost more valuable than the money that they pay you in this industry.
You know, I think we could talk about 4.5 hours on that one statement right there, because to be successful in life and business, it's way more than just what can I get, because it's like the late Zig Ziglar used to say, when you help enough people get what they want in their life, then you will end up getting what you want. So it's the give first mentality, the serve mentality. And when you are making a difference and making those emotional, relational deposits into people's lives, sometimes, I mean, you got to pay the bills and you need money to live. We get that. It's not like you're going to do it for free, but sometimes the fulfillment from making those deposits into people's lives and hearing what they say to them is just beyond. And I think that if you strive for that, if you strive for, you know, kind of putting tick marks down every time I make a difference in someone's life and they tell me how much I mean to them, you know, personally, and how much, you've helped me change my life, I'm going to put a tick mark down. Well, if you kind of keep your nose down and keep doing that, and you look up one day and it's like, oh, well, along the way, I've made some money too. But too many people chase the money. And what happens, in my opinion, they're chasing the wrong thing. They're chasing the money, and the relationship suffers because the people they're trying to work with can see right through them. They see all you want is that deal and that dollar sign.
That's correct. Helping people is simply amazing. And when people know that you're helping them and that you care about their goals and their dreams, they put a whole lot more effort in. They will follow what you do. And that's, the speed of the team is usually the speed of the leader.
And that's exciting, but it also is scary in the sense that you've got something to live up to, right? You've got your people are watching you. They're watching for you to show them the way, and you've got a lot of responsibility. So I think it's exciting, but also it's a huge responsibility too.
It is. But you learn it. You learn as you go in this business. You don't just become the top level in a company or anything like that because you came in because you were successful before in life. This is a process, and you learn as you go. I'm grateful that I was teachable and coachable, because that's a whole other subject in itself. But I was teachable and coachable. I wanted this, and I wanted to learn because I had never done it before. And yes, I mean it's work. There's work involved. That's what people need to know, but people will help you do this.
And thinking about someone that is trying to break out of corporate America and they think, I'm going to go buy a franchise because it's kind of like a business in a box. They'll tell me what to do. That's like, you better jump in with both feet and two hands and everything in between. But in network marketing, you don't need to quit your job and focus, every second of your day into building the business, because you can dip your toe in the water and do the right things and start part-time and then let it grow from there, right? So talk a little bit about the fact that, you can have that kind of goal, but you don't need to disrupt your current lifestyle right this minute. You can start part-time.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the neat thing about it. In fact, I suggest that's how people start it, because if you don't just go and you try to start this full-time, you don't do that. You've got to build this. You got to build your business part-time around what you're already doing. Let it fit into your life. Make it fit into your life. Learn it while you're still making income from whatever you're doing, from if you own a business or if you've got a job. Keep earning that income. Let it keep paying the bills, okay? But learn this business on the side in the nooks and crannies. You do it in the nooks and crannies. Remember, you're your own boss, so if you want to get up earlier in the morning to do some of this, you can. If you want to do something at lunch, you can. Right after work, you can. But you can build this part-time. See, this is a part-time or full-time industry. It's not a sometime industry. You don't just do this sometimes. You've got to be consistent.
Yeah.
And if someone is and I teach this, if you're consistent and you'll do this in the nooks and the crannies, you can make this build till all of a sudden you've got a couple people who then have gotten a couple people, and it starts growing, and it can give you the choices where then you can, have the choices in life to maybe get rid of your job or rid of your companies that you own, like I did, and go from there. But you can, and the funny thing about that is, Mike, is when you say you're going full time in this business, full time in this industry usually is not a 40-hour week. Now it can be at certain times, but what's 40 hours? Most of us are used to working 60 to 70 hours a week to pay the bills. But you can bring, all of a sudden you worked part time in the nooks and crannies and built this. It grows to where you can go full time in it, but then when you go full time in it, you can actually back down to where it gives you time freedom. You can now then, being a full time, you can work this around your life. You can live life, and then you can work your business. Where in most days, people are working and then trying to live life. Let's live life and then work.
Yeah, I mean, when you were mentioning nooks and crannies, you've got a family and a life and a business, and you're trying to put in an hour here, hour there, 2, 3, 4 hours on the weekend. And then when you get to the point where you go, you know what, this momentum is starting, and what if it's wise and a good time now to go full time into network marketing? Well, now the nooks and crannies just disappeared, because you can spend a 4-hour block of time first thing in the morning and get probably quadruple what was being done in the nooks and crannies. And to your point, maybe full-time doesn't mean the 40 hours, because now your focus is so precise and you're getting way more done. And then that leverage starts to amplify and magnify from there.
Oh, absolutely. And I would always suggest to anybody, before you ever made the move to take it from a full-time from a part-time to a full-time, that you counsel with the people that you're in business with, so they can help you with your business to make that decision. Because I have seen people make that move too soon. Yeah. But when you make that move and you're prepared, and then the time freedom, it gives you choices, because what you did, the work you did prior to that can continue to pay you absolutely for the rest of your life if you've built this correctly.
Yep. So let's kind of head into the next topic, which I think that we've painted a really wonderful picture, and someone that might be listening to this might be, this might be a good time to start working toward this in a part-time fashion, like what we've been talking about. But I know you've had enough experience for some people to tell us, what are some misconceptions? Because I think that never in a million years is there the decision made to start in a network marketing organization, and I got with a great leader, wonderful, and everything was rosy. Nothing negative happened. Let's talk about a couple of the misconceptions, because I feel like if you can address them and be aware of them ahead of time, then when you kind of delve into merging into this part-time opportunity, now you go, okay, this could come, this could come, but I'm prepared for it mentally, and I'm prepared for it. So talk to us a little bit about some misconceptions and then what can be done to overcome them.
Well, first of all, there's the misconceptions of the industry all the way. People think it's a pyramid scheme or something like that, because you're bringing people in your business. But that's corporate America. You're hiring employees to work for you, and then you're paying them to help build your dreams. Or they think the guy at the top makes all the money. And, I found that. In fact, that's one of the things I thought when I was first going to get into this. I started thinking, well, I'm not going to do all this work and make this guy a bunch of money and me do it all. But then I realized how the compensation plan worked, that, I had the ability to out-earn him. I had the ability to get paid what I was worth if I would do it. So I quickly found out that there's no such thing as a pyramid in this industry. That would be totally illegal. The industry is governed by the Direct Selling Association, and which is the watchdog of the industry. And these are considered legitimate businesses. You pay taxes on them and everything. So there's nothing about the guy at the top makes all the money. The guy that makes all the money is the guy that's working harder than other people. Because it wasn't too long down the road that I ended up I was out earning the people that brought me in the business. And I'm not saying that in a bad way about them, because I'm blessed every day that they thought enough of me to introduce me to this company. And they helped me do that. So it's not the guy at the top makes all the money. You can make whatever you want. But one of the other misconceptions really is that it doesn't work, or it doesn't work because somebody knows somebody whose mother's brother's aunt didn't succeed in some kind of network marketing business. Yep. So they want to group it all together and say then that it doesn't work. Well, I have found a lot of times that people give up too soon. Just like in small business, lots and lots of small businesses fail because they didn't keep pushing through the storms or the struggles. And in this business, I learned, because I almost gave it up at one point. I didn't know if it was working. I almost hung, and I'm not a quitter, but I almost hung it up. And a guy said, Bob, you need to stick in there. And that was like 2 months later, my business absolutely blew right through the roof and started growing faster than I ever thought it would. You got to put the work and the effort in. It's not, you don't just become part of a company or buy some product and talk to a couple people about it and think that you're going to live happily ever after. I mean, look at this. Let's just say somebody's 50 years old. They've been working since, let's say, 20. So 30 years of their life, they've been working. More than 50% of the average 50-year-olds in the United States have less than $1,000 in the bank. So for 30 years, they've been doing this work for people, and they have $1,000 in the bank. Is that system working for them? But they will work, Mike, 60 to 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week to do that. Yeah. They come into network marketing, and they want to work 2 or 3 hours or this or that, and then expect that after 2 weeks that they ought to have a bankroll of $50,000 in the bank. It doesn't work that way. So you've got to put the work in. If you'll work right consistently, you can absolutely build a fortune that can change future generations to come inside your family.
Well, you bring up a really good analogy about corporate America. So you think about, moving up the ranks and getting promoted, and the millennials these days, they come in and they think they should be making as much as the top guy makes without doing the work. Well, sorry, you need to pay your dues. You need to put in your time. And when you get promoted, then you get promoted. But the problem with corporate America is when you get promoted and you get passed over, and then there is that ceiling where you're going to only go so far. And to your point, if you have an opportunity where you can start small and work smart and then grow a little bit and grow a little bit and put a little bit more time in as that momentum builds and the enthusiasm builds, and you see, hey, it's working a little bit here, so I'm going to put a little bit more time. Well, then the sky is the limit. And if you can then translate it from, well, back before you worked 20, 30 years, and look, what do you have to show for it? You don't get the gold watch anymore. How many companies do pensions anymore? People will get laid off, cut, fired in a heartbeat. Whereas if you're building something on your own from, and I love the phrase, and we ought to just pause right here and just talk about this, network marketing. You're marketing a product or service through a network of relationships. So it is building relationships, and then that can grow and grow and grow. So I think that you hit the nail on the head so well, because too many people grow up in mom and dad's house, and then they get out on their own and they want everything mom and dad had. Well, mom and dad spent 30 years to build up that, get 2 cars in the house and whatever. You got to start from the bottom. Well, with network marketing, sure, you have to start at the bottom, but when you put in the work and put in the work, you can grow it way past where you could have been in corporate America. And to me, that combined with the time freedom makes the whole industry just super, super attractive. So let's think about this. Let's kind of wrap up with this question. I would suspect that if anyone listening to this were interested in exploring what could this opportunity look like for them, you could talk them through. You can connect with them and just ask some questions and just see if it even might be a fit for them. Because maybe you've even talked to someone in the past where it's like, you know what, you got some things going on in your life right now. Let's circle back around in a month or 2 or 3 or whatever. So I would ask you, would it be a safe assumption to say if someone was curious, that you would be happy to talk with them and just assess where they are and give them some good, honest feedback on what this could do for them? Yes.
Oh, Mike, nowadays I kind of am a little choosy with people. They've got to be qualified to come into this business because it's got to be the right time. Mike, I'm not sure. Did you want me to let people know how they could get a hold of me?
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think I just wanted to make sure that it's really clear that when someone does reach out to you, they're not going to be hit over the head with a big old hammer to say, get into my organization. You're going to be helping them talk through their options and explain, and just to make it very clear to see if it even is right for them at all.
Oh, Mike, that's right. Because, what I do in network marketing might not be the right fit for them. It might be a different company. Or it might be what I do, and is it a right fit? There are things to talk about. Are they willing to put their time and effort in? So, yeah, that would be awesome. Anybody who ever wanted to reach out to me, I've been truly blessed, and the only way to stay blessed is to give away, and yeah. I'm more than willing to help others.
Perfect. What's the best way that people can reach out and connect with you, Bob?
Best way to reach me is get right to my direct line, which would be my cell phone number. And people can get a hold of me at 720-435-5076.
Perfect. Well, Bob, it was so nice to chat with you. It's really refreshing just to hear someone lay it out and talk, plain talk, and not try to spin things and amplify it, something that's not there. You can just tell that you're just, a down-home guy that will just speak the truth. And I really appreciate that. It was wonderful getting to know you. And thanks so much for your time today.
You bet, Mike, and it was a pleasure being on your show today. Thanks a lot. Look forward to seeing you some more.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.